And this phylum Mollusca, it encompasses various topics, one important portion of the syllabus, like it has the topic of feeding, respiration, locomotion, general features and life history of lemmelidens, pila, then sepia, torsion, detorsion and gastropods. So this forms a very important portion of the syllabus. Okay, so the phylum Mollusca, it has over 10,000 species. Sorry, it has over 1 million species. Okay, so it forms a very important aspect of the phylum. That's why the questions have been asked earlier about the mollusks. From these very topics, the questions have been repeated. If you go through the previous year questions, the question regarding the feeding has been asked, brief account about the feeding mechanism of mollusk, the respiration in mollusk, the respiration in general has been asked, the respiration with respect to Unio, Pila, Sepia, it has been specifically asked, and it has been asked very recently. So yes, you can expect question from mollusk. There has been questions about the respiration in forest service, also the question about the locomotion, the notes on the shell diversity in mollusk. So it has been asked in 2016, and it can be asked again. So the diversity of shells, it forms an important topic, the shell diversity. So yes, we will be discussing about the shell diversity, the general features of pila, then yes, about the larval forms of pila, about the trochophore larva in particular. Yes, the questions have been asked about the torsion, detorsion. So we will cover these topics very well detailed, in a detailed manner, and yes, about the general features as well as the classification. So we will cover this completely. So if we start with the general introduction of the mollusca, you know the organisms like clams, snails, even slugs, squid. So these are some of the organisms which come under the mollusca. The habitat of the mollusks is usually aquatic, like they are present in marine, for example sepia is the squid, okay, or they can be freshwater like Unio, and some can be terrestrial too, like Pila globosa, the apple snail. So yes, they are found in different habitats. The body organization, as they have evolved with time, the organization has come up to the triploblastic. These are triploblastic. They are bilaterally symmetrical. They are coelomates. They have unsegmented and soft body, so they are unsegmented. You will not see the segments in the body, but they have a soft globular body if you see closely. So you will also observe that they have the body which is divided into head, foot, visceral mass and mantle. So what is this head, foot and visceral mass? If you will see, let's just go through this one organism, which is a snail, simple snail. So it will have a head. So it has a head. It has a tail. And then it has a visceral mass, and this visceral mass, it remains coiled in the shell. So inside it has a visceral mass. And this visceral mass, it's present in the cavity, and that cavity is called as a mantle cavity. It's the mantle. So yes, that this body, it is covered by a mantle. So it's covered by a mantle, and then this mantle, it secretes the calcareous shell. So this mantle has a specific function of secreting the calcareous shell. This shell, it can be external, for example in case of the snails. It can be internal, for example in case of sepia. So internal shell is present in sepia. External can be like in snails. So we have different types of shells. We will be discussing about the shells of the mollusks. And then we also have the body cavity, that is a true coelom. These are the schizocilus. These are schizocilus, that is the coelom is formed by the splitting of the mesoderm. Then if you will go through the digestive system, it has a mouth, it has radula is present, but exception is bivalve, they do not have the radula. Then next they have stomach, they have intestines, they have proper anus, and they have this radula acts as a rasping tongue like structure. It has rows of the chitinous teeth. It helps in the digestion, it helps in the taking in the food and then chewing it. Then the circulatory system is open in most of the mollusks. They have a this closed circulatory system in cephalopods. So whenever you read about it, the cephalopod is an exception when it comes to the circulatory system, because this octopus and squid, they are advanced form in the mollusks. Okay, they are somewhat advanced in the mollusks. Next, the respiratory system, it is through gills. You will observe there is this aquatic respiration. So you will find the gills. You will also find the aquatic respiration through the pulmonary sac or the mantle cavity. They are modified as lung in terrestrial forms like pila. Then you will observe that the kidneys or the metanephridia are present. They are also often called as the organ of Bojanus. So remember this keyword, that the organ of Bojanus, it's present in the mollusks. The nervous system is well developed. They have paired ganglia, they have connectives, they have proper nerves. The cephalopod, they show high degree of cephalization. That's why it's called as cephalopods. And they have advanced nervous system. Okay. For example, in case of the octopus and squid. Octopus and squid, they have a proper enlarged head. They have a proper head-like structure. They have this head, and then they have the tentacles, all the arms and everything. So there is need of a proper central nervous system that will be coordinating with the whole body. Then the sense organs have statocyst. It's the balancing organ. We have read about this statocyst one or the other way in different phyla. The osphaeridia are present. These osphaeridia are the chemoreceptors. They have tentacles. They have eyes. These are very complex in cephalopods, the eyes. Then the reproduction, it's mostly sexual reproduction. There are hermaphrodites in the mollusks. For example, gastropods, they are hermaphrodites. The fertilization, it's external or internal. The indirect development, if present, then it is through trochophore larva. We will see about this. And in lemmelidans, we have veliger larva, also called as a glochidium. We will read about this too. Then the locomotion, it's through the muscular foot. Okay, it's through the muscular foot. The cephalopods, they use a jet propulsion for the locomotion. So if we have the squid, so squid will have a siphon-like structure. This siphon will help in this movement. It will act like a jet propulsion. So the development, it is through the trochophore larva. They have sometimes the veliger larva, and examples are very well clear here. Gastropods include the snails or slugs. There are bivalvia. Bivalvia are the mussels or the oysters. They are also delicacies at some place. The oysters, they help in the formation of the pearl. We have to go through this pearl formation in economic zoology. We will see in detail how the pearls are formed from the oysters, and they have very shiny shells, very beautiful shells. The cephalopods include the octopus, squid, nautilus, and the Polyplacophora. The chitin is included in it. The Scaphopoda has dentalium. This dentalium is a very long shell a very long shell. Then we have Monoplacophora, which has single shell-like structure, that is in Neoplena. So we have all these general characteristics in mollusks that are found, and these are some of the examples of the mollusks. For example, this is Dentalium, this is Limex, the slug, there is this Helix, snails, there is a Spila, there is octopus, Unio, chiton. So these are all different types of the mollusks in general. So now you have idea about the general features of the mollusks. Now we will discuss about the classification. The phylum Mollusca, it contains the class Aplacophora. Aplacophora are the shell-less. These are worm-like mollusks. So if we move on towards this evolutionary tree, we will see that we have annelids, and then we have these mollusks. So there will be some initial species that have been developed in the mollusks, though they could have some resemblance with the annelids or the phylum which are existing before the mollusks in the evolutionary history, in the hierarchy of classification. So yes, they have some shell-less, they have worm-like mollusks. The body is covered with calcareous spicules, so they have spicules. They are without a distinct head, they are without a distinct foot, they are marine and benthic, and they do not have radula. Okay. Then second class will be the Monoplacophora. The Monoplacophora, it is a single cap-like shell. Okay, it has a single and cap-like shell. The body, it shows serial repetition of some organs, so there is segmentation to some extent, and they have multiple pairs of gills and nephridia. Example is Neoplena for Monoplacophora. Next is Polyplacophora. They have a dorsal shell with 8 plates. They have a broad flat foot, and there is a mantle cavity with multiple gills. They have simple nervous system, and yes, radula is present. They do not have a distinct head. Example is chiton for Polyplacophora, also called as Amphineura. So next class is Scaphopoda. This Scaphopoda is tusk shaped. It's tusk shaped like this. It is tubular. The shell is open at both the ends. Shell will be open at both the ends. They do not have gills. Respiration is through the mantle surface. The tentacles, there is a tentacle like structure called as capticula. Okay, they are marine burrowers, and the example is Dentalium. Then we have class Gastropoda. It undergoes torsion. Torsion is important topic in this. They are typically coiled. They are coiled due to this torsion. They have univalve shell which may be present or absent. The head is with the tentacles and eyes, and radula is present. So the radula that contains that chitinous teeth-like structures, it is present here, and it is most diverse group. You will see one or the other type of snail in this, like Pila, Limnia, Aplysia, Conus, there is Patella, there are many types of snails. Then we have bivalvia. Bivalvia means you must have visited the beach and saw that there are these small beautiful shells like this. Like these shells, if you open them, they become butterfly like. They have this butterfly like structure, and inside you have this small mass, small visceral mass. The body, it is laterally compressed, and the body, it is enclosed in a 2-valved shell. They do not have radula. These are filter feeders. Okay. The gills, they are enlarged for both respiration and feeding, and the head, it's reduced. Examples are Unio, Mytilus, Austria, Pinctada. Pinctada is the pearl oyster. The pearl oyster. Oysters are included in Pinctada. Next is the class Cephalopoda. These are the most advanced mollusks in the course of evolution, in the course of hierarchy of classification. The foot is modified into arms. So now you will see arms, proper arms. Then the shell, it may be external or internal, or they can be even absent. So the shell, if you will see in case of squid is somewhat like this. It has an internal shell. So it has an internal shell. This is a squid. This is its internal shell. It has a closed circulatory system, so it is an exception. Open circulatory system is prominent in the mollusks, but exceptionally cephalopod have the closed circulatory system. They have complex eyes and brain. Examples are octopus, sepia, loligo, nautilus. Okay, so this is all about the classification in the mollusks. Now next we will study about the torsion. Okay, the torsion, it is a very special type of phenomenon, and it's observed in mollusks. The mollusks show this torsion as well as a detorsion, and it is found only in this phylum. The torsion, it is basically a phenomenon of the rotation. Okay, this torsion, it is the twisting or torsion. It's also called as a twisting. So it is the rotation of the visceral mass and overlying mantle and shell as much as 180 from the initial position with respect to the head and foot. So it's the rotation of the visceral mass, overlying mantle and shell with respect to the head and foot. So head and foot is the standard position. It is anti-clockwise and it occurs in all the gastropods during the larval stage. The larval stage is the Valiger larva. At that stage, it will show this 180 of movement of the body. Okay, so what is this this process of torsion? If one goes through the process of torsion, in the diagram you will observe that you have this initially you have this proper mouth. There is anus. Anteriorly there is mouth, posteriorly there is anus, and this is mantle cavity. Okay, this is mantle cavity. These are the gills. You observe that this is just rotating anti-clockwise. So from this position it has reached here, and slowly it will totally turn from its original position. It will turn opposite to it, so it will be a 180 turn. So this is a 180 turn, and it's a clockwise motion. So this 180 turn, a clockwise motion, this is found in case of the gastropods. This is found particularly in the mollusks. Even here you will observe that there is a proper head, there is a proper foot, but then here you can observe these ganglia, these connectives. These are called as the neurointestinal connectives. And what is happening to these neurointestinal connectives? Even these are rotating, and when they rotate they form a cross. So this cross, it's called as a chiastonuri, and it's found in the gastropods, where there is a formation of 8-like structure of the neurointestinal connectives. So this is a general understanding of how the torsion occurs. So there is a proper all the mollusks, they except the gastropods, they are typically bilaterally symmetrical animals, but in gastropods they possess an asymmetrical body with the mantle cavity, and anteriorly and the shell, visceral mass, they all coil spirally and direct then posteriorly. So this torsion, it's a 180 counterclockwise rotation or twisting of the mass. So there was one scientist named as Thompson. The Thompson said there are 5 ways to bring in the torsion. The first way he said that there will be 180-degree rotation by the muscle contraction. There will be muscle contraction that will cause the 180-degree rotation in the body. Next, he said that yes, the movement can be possible. This 180-degree rotation can be possible even by the movement of the visceropallium. Okay, it can be through the visceropallium. Visceropallium means the visceral mass as well as the pallium, that includes the portion of the foot. So it foot as well as some portion in the shell. So it said that it is the proper movement of the visceropallium. Then next he said that the 180-degree movement, it can be due to the adjustment of the position of the anus. The anus can come posteriorly and it can be formed that way, and it will this 180-degree rotation will come into being. Then he said that this 180 degree can be by differential growth too, that internally the growth will happen and slowly this mass will develop and it will cause the rotation. He said that the rotation can be in two stages. First, the 90-degree rotation will be due to the muscle contraction. From the original position, 90-degree will be due to muscle contraction, and next 90-degree will be due to the differential growth. So it included the two stages. So these are the ways Thompson gave how the torsion can be brought about in the body of the gastropods. So there are various events that happen during the torsion. The mantle cavity, it will shift from posterior to the forward. Okay, so if you will see a general understanding, before torsion and after torsion. Before torsion, the anus, the tenidia, the renal aperture, these all will point backward. And after torsion, the anus, the tenidia, and the renal aperture, they will point forward. So next will be the change in the relative position of the visceral organs, whether it is the anus, tenidia and renal orifice, that I have explained here, that first it is pointed backwards and then it will be pointed forward. There will be looping of the alimentary canal and it will become U-shaped. So we saw here the looping of the alimentary canal. The alimentary canal is looping and it is forming a U-shaped. So this is a alimentary canal which is forming the U-shaped. Then yes, I said you that there will be a long uncoiled neurovisceral nerve connectives, that is the neurovisceral nerve connectives. They will become twisted and they will form 8-like structure, 8 figure. It's called as a chiastoneury. There will be loss of symmetry. The gills, they are repositioned towards the head, and this torsion, it has certain significances. For example, it protects the head and the sensory organs. Okay, the head can be withdrawn into the shell first, so it protects the head as well as the sensory organs. It helps in better sensory reception because the sensory organs, they move towards forward as there is rotation, so all the sensory organs, they will move towards the forward, and there will be osphaeridium, there will be tenidia, there will be statocyst. These all will be coming towards forward, and this osphaeridium, it helps in the chemoreception. Then we have efficient water flow. We have efficient water flow in case of the when we are talking about this particular mollusks, they have an efficient water flow due to the torsion. So respiration, excretion, feeding, it comes with greater efficiency when there is torsion. And then it is also an evolutionary adaptation. It helps to colonize diverse habitats. It will help the organism to move faster, to ease out the respiratory process, the excretion process, even the reproduction for the organism, and it will help in reproducing more efficiently and colonizing the different habitats, because they have an efficient sensory structure too now. So this is all about the significance of the torsion. Anatomically, there is this anatomical rearrangement, the relocation of the organs, there is this adaptive significance of the torsion, and yes, you can also include that it will help in better defense. It will also help in the better defense. Better defense mechanism. So respiratory the respiratory efficiency or the ventilation also increases. So earlier, as I said, that for example, this is your snail before torsion. This is the gill. This is the branchial chamber. This is the gill. These are the retractor muscles. This is visceral mass. This is head. This is mouth. And yes, this is foot. The larva, it will undergo the torsion. After undergoing torsion, the larva will undergo torsion. After undergoing torsion, you will observe that the shell will remain as it is. There will be rotation inside the body. The head will be like this, but there will be U-shaped. Now you will have a U-shaped. Have a U-shaped digestive system. The gills will come in front of the organism. Now the branchial chamber will be in the forward direction. This is the gill. This is the U-shaped alimentary canal. So this is all about the torsion. But yes, the torsion, it also brought about certain challenges. These challenges included, there were certain challenges. The challenges included the fouling. So if this is the mouth and there has been U-shaped rotation of the body, so this will be the anus. And if anus will be here, don't you think that it will create wastage in this area, waste disposal in this area? So yes, this is one of the issue. It creates fouling, that is the waste disposal. and in turn it increases the risk of contamination. So the waste, it's disposed just above the head. Next is the loss of bilateral symmetry. So there was this loss of bilateral symmetry, and somehow it is considered not that efficient in terms of evolution. But at the same time, yes, it has ecological implications. So there is this presence of torsion in the gastropods. So this is all about the torsion. But there is one more process, that's the detorsion. Okay, detorsion. This detorsion in gastropods, it is the evolutionary reversal. So this